Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? This is Colin, back at it again with episode 29 of A New Direction, the podcast where I talk about all sorts of things and just kind of give my opinion and advice on a variety of different topics, and we just kind of hang out and chill for a little while. Today, like usual, I'm going to have four different topics of discussion. These are kind of varied today, not really following a theme, I would say. But also, like usual, we're going to be starting with the music recommendation. And so we're going to be recommending a metal album today. This one is called Tales of Other Time by Stormkeep. So this is actually a band I've literally never heard of, and I've only really gotten around to listening to the album here recently. I discovered it on Instagram. I follow the hashtag Black Metal, and I think I've talked about that before. Actually, I found another album this way, I believe. But I follow the hashtag Black Metal on Instagram, and this was one of the posts that was come up through the algorithm. Somebody had reviewed this album and said it was their favorite black metal release of 2021. And so naturally, that's a pretty bold claim. And so I decided to give it a listen. And I can safely say that it is a very, very, very good album. In my experience listening to it so far, it's very, very good. It's definitely like a melodic black metal kind of style with the almost Emperor sort of esque with the synthesizers and more melodic lines that kind of are played. But it also has some straight up dungeon synth sections where it's almost like the kind of music I would imagine you would hear in a Nordic tavern in Skyrim or something, with the synths and the classical guitar kind of sound, and it's just really, really clean. And overall, all the songs on this album, are really, really good. This is another one of those ones where you can't really go wrong all the way with any of the tracks all the way through. They all kind of transition into one another really smoothly, and overall, this makes for a very solid and cohesive listen. Definitely gets a high rating for me, 8.5 out of 10. Definitely one I would recommend for fans of black metal or dungeon synth, or, typically I would imagine that there's a bit of overlap there. So if you're a fan of that kind of style or you like Emperor, I would highly recommend checking out this album. It's really, really good. But with that being said, we're going to dive right into the topics of discussion today. And so the first one, I'm going to be talking about tiny houses. So for those of you who do not know what a tiny house is, which, it's pretty self-explanatory, I would imagine. It's pretty much just like a tiny house. It is a full-size house in a small form factor. Tiny houses are typically cheaper than, full-size houses, as you can imagine, which means you have cheaper payments over time, and you kind of get the benefits of having a house while also having the, I guess, more cozy sort of small house feel. I don't know, like a cabin kind of vibe maybe. But you get the full amenities, you have enough room for pretty much anything. And tiny houses have always been very appealing to me. I've always thought the kind of I don't know, living off the grid, or living in a tiny house, or living in a bus or a van or something. I've always thought that's really cool. You see a lot of people on YouTube and on social media kind of living that lifestyle and traveling and just, really living their best life. And I really think that tiny houses are, I don't know, just very cool. They're so minimalistic in a sense. It's just the bare essentials. It's, just the amount of space that you really need and nothing more. And I really am attracted to that. I'm kind of I don't know, I value the simple things, I guess. And so, I don't necessarily feel like I need to have a lot of space in a house, or, I feel like I need to, have a whole bunch of rooms that I'm not going to use, or, even decorate really. I don't know, that just kind of seems, a little not up my alley. I don't know, I would rather have and use all the space that I pay for, or, am paying for. And so I guess that's why I like tiny houses so much, because I kind of am more in that, category of people where I don't, I like to have nice things, don't get me wrong. I like to have nice instruments, and, I spend a lot of money on my hobbies. But just as far as the essentials go, I kind of prefer a tiny house to a full-size house. And so I had actually planned, originally my plan was I was going to go to college and I was going to get my degree, and then I was going to get an apartment or something like that, try to find a local apartment here nearby that would be suitable, would be decent on the monthly payments, but would also, be nice to live in a safe area. And I had done a little research around here, around my local area, kind of trying to find something that fit that criteria, and there's really not a lot. Like, I especially right now, kind of with prices on like everything just being through the roof, rent is exceptionally high. Like in my area, you can get like a small, like 500 square foot, studio apartment, like studio one room for like 12 or 1300 bucks a month. So I mean, the prices, at least for someone like me who I'm still working, not like a minimum wage job. I make a lot more than minimum wage, but it's not really like an educated job. I don't have to have a degree to work there. Have to have any sort of qualifications to work, at Firehouse. And so, coming from that background, that is just obscenely unaffordable to me. I cannot afford to pay those prices, and I don't have to right now. Obviously, I'm still living at home, but I really think that the tiny house route is a better option. And for people who I guess are in a similar boat or are thinking about this stuff, the tiny house kind of route is something I would almost recommend looking into, because there are a few benefits I think that come along with buying a tiny house beyond, the fact that you get a tiny house, like, which is a benefit to me. But the main benefit that I can think of, that when it comes to at least buying property, is it's an asset. Like, it's something that you can claim. It's, you own it. Your money's tied up in it, and so it is a physical piece of like land and property that you own. Like, it is contributing to your net worth. And so that's really important, I think, because by having these assets, you're more financially, I guess, set. Like, you have by owning these assets, you're kind of setting yourself up for success, I think. Having money and things to your name. And when you get an apartment, you're not doing that. An apartment does not contribute to your net worth or contribute to your assets or anything like that, because at the end of the day, it's owned by somebody else who you are paying to live there. So you are essentially just paying for somebody else. You're just paying them money so you can live in their space, so they still have all the benefits of owning the space. You just live in it. So, like, I don't know, the just thought of that was not really attractive to me. Like I was saying, I would really rather own my own space. So I went kind of shifted from wanting to get like an apartment to maybe rather buying like some cheap land somewhere in a more rural area, and building a tiny house on it, because for one, a tiny house is very customizable. Like, it's the same as like a regular house. You can have different floor plans and different setups for whatever you're going for, whatever you like, whatever style is up your alley, or whatever floats your boat. So you get the customization. They're cheaper, and overall, I just think tiny houses are a really good value. And for someone like me, it's like a very attractive option for post education living arrangement, because like I said, I don't want to pay to line somebody else's pockets. And the price, honestly, for building a tiny house is going to be substantially cheaper in the long run, I think, just because you get longer payment terms and a lower rate, because the price is just not as high. And so I really think that tiny houses are something that, for people my age who are maybe kind of in a similar boat, or are kind of thinking ahead, trying to decide what they want to do, where they want to live, tiny houses are a good option, because they are very affordable for new people, and into new careers, like new entrants into the workforce, I guess, like after getting educated. I think a tiny house is a good option. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about them, because it's something that I think is really cool. It's something I'm interested in owning one day. But yeah, with that being said, we're going to move into the next topic here, which is Spotify Wrapped, and why I think it's cool. However, I am still an Apple Music user, and yes, I have an Android phone, so I use Apple Music, have an Android phone. I actually pay for Apple Music on an Android phone, and I use it over, Spotify, Pandora, Tidal, any of the other streaming platforms. So Spotify Wrapped, for those of you who don't know, it pretty much is just like the yearly recap of your listening onto the platform. So it like counts your favorite songs and like how many times you listen to them and your total amount of minutes listened over the year. And it's a lot. Like it keeps up with a lot of detailed statistics that I think is really, really cool. Like the fact that Spotify is able to keep track of all that stuff and, show you how much time you're spending to music, and, what your favorite tracks are, your favorite albums, your favorite kind of genres and everything. Like it's just kind of cool to see how your music taste evolves. And Spotify Wrapped has been going on for a few years now. I know it's pretty much an end of the year thing. It happens in December. and they do like the yearly recap or whatever. And people will always post their results on social media. They'll take screenshots of the Wrapped page and post it on their story, and I'm like, yes. Go listen to music, because as a musician, I like it when people listen to music. I love when music is shared and experienced, because as a musician and as an avid music lover, that's what it's all about to me. I think music is an experience, and it's very social and can be shared, and I think that's great. But despite being very cool, I'm still an Apple Music user. And so some people might think that's a little odd. I mean, Apple Music really doesn't have a similar recap feature. Like, they have one, but it only counts like your hours listened and like your song, like your top song. Like, it's not as nearly as detailed as Spotify's, despite the fact that I feel like Apple probably has access to the same information. Like, I don't really see why Apple wouldn't be able to tell me what my, favorite genres are, or, what my, blend of emotions was through my listening patterns and whatever. Apple has access to all that data. So a lot of people are kind of calling for Apple to, I don't know, update the recap feature. I think it's called Replay. I think it's called like Apple Music Replay or something. You can go back. People are asking that they update it to compete with Spotify Wrapped. But I still use Apple Music because, for one, it was what I switched to after Google Play Music, went down the drain. Google killed it in favor of YouTube Music, which I still to this day don't understand. Google Play Music I had been using since like 5th grade. Like, I had literally been on Google Play Music since like 5th or 6th grade, and I had accumulated my huge library on there and everything. And then they killed it for YouTube Music, which is not good in my opinion. YouTube Music is not a really good streaming platform. And so, when that all went down, I could have switched to Spotify, but Apple Music was just kind of the obvious choice I think at the time, because I had an iPhone. And so it was like literally built in, so I could just like go and subscribe, and it was really simple, and I could just build my library again. And so, naturally, when I transitioned over to Android again and got my OnePlus phone, I stuck with Apple Music. And I really don't have any gripes with Apple Music. I really feel is why I stick with it. Like, it is consistent. Like, it always works. The library is huge. It has all of my favorite songs, even from like the most obscure bands. Apple Music has the songs on there. And the same can be said about Spotify, but I just think the fact that I've already have been paying for Apple Music and have just gotten used to the UI and everything with it, I think is why I continue to use it. But, I've really never had any interest in switching to Spotify, if I'm honest. Like, I've been with Apple Music for so long now, it's just kind of second nature. I have Spotify on my computer, but I don't really use it all that much. Normally, I'm kind of using Fubar instead, which is another platform, and I use that to play FLAC, which is like really high quality uncompressed audio files. So you're able to hear all the detail and everything. But I use Fubar for that. So Spotify honestly really does get a lot of use for me. But I do think it's great that Spotify, does the Wrapped feature and is able to kind of show you your listening habits, but also like allow people to expose others to different styles of music and different forms of expression that they may not have discovered otherwise. So Spotify Wrapped is pretty dope. Apple Music definitely needs to catch up in that regard. The replay feature is not it. I think, for off the top of my head, like, my stats were honestly really terrible. Normally I listen to like a whole bunch of music, tens of thousands of minutes, but honestly didn't do that much this past year. I guess with work and everything, and with my car, I don't really use the stereo at all. So, my minutes weren't racking up like normal. I still got over like 200 hours listened, I think, on Apple Music, which is like still a fairly decent amount of minutes. But, over like, I think out of my like 202 hours, like 60% of them were Mayhem. So like, I listened to Mayhem like 60% of the time for the full year, which is crazy. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I just think that the Apple Music Replay feature could definitely use an update. And after that, I really wouldn't have anything to complain about. They would be just up there with Spotify. But with that being said, we're going to move now. Ooh, I think Magnolia's coming in to greet us. Or she was walking out. But anyway, my next topic here is going to be about my interest in getting some new wireless earbuds. And so I'm really reaching out first and foremost for recommendations, because I've got a solid amount of money. I can pretty much buy anything at, I'd like to keep it less than $100, less than maybe even $70 if possible, but I don't mind spending $100. But I just want to get some really, really high quality, wireless earbuds, the best experience that I can have for the money. And I've been looking at the OnePlus Buds Z, which is like their more budget earbuds. They're both full, they're fully wireless, come with the case and everything. But they don't have like the noise cancellation or anything like that. But they get really good reviews, and they're only like $40. And I figure with the OnePlus phone, I can't really go wrong. It should be fairly seamless. But I don't know, I know there's other brands, you've got Sennheiser and Sony that all have a bunch of different options and offerings as well. So I've kind of been on the fence about what to buy, or maybe if I should even go the IEM, in-ear monitor wired sort of earbud type route, due to the fact that, I've heard that IEMs get exceptional reproduction and just sound really, really crisp and clear for the price. So I've been a little unsure as to what to do because I've wanted to improve my mobile listening experience. Most of my music, I'm listening through wireless earbuds. I have a pair of Earfun. I think they're called the Earfun Free. They're like the bean style case. So it's like a bean shape, and the earbuds are like more bean shaped too. They don't have like the long stick like the AirPods. It's just like a bean kind of Galaxy Buds sort of look. I might actually have them here on my desk. Do I? Nah, I don't think so. But yeah, I bought them on Amazon. They were like $30 or $40. But I think I got them on like a sale or a discount or something. And they're honestly really, really good. They are exceptional for the price. The fit is really good. The noise isolation is probably the best I've had as far as wireless earbuds go. Just the way they're shaped. You put them in, and I mean, it literally locks out all the noise. But you get the drawback of having to really crank up the volume. I find that like I have to listen with the volume pretty high to get a full sort of sound, because it's very, very like, I don't know, pinpoint sort of sounding, if that makes sense. Like the sound stage is really, really narrow, so it sounds like it's all coming from kind of like right dead center. Even though it's not. And you can hear some separation, like you are definitely able to distinguish between instruments, but the sound stage overall is very narrow. And, I'm not a fan of that. I actually bought these headphones, the Philips, what are they, the X2HRs, the headphones that I've been using now for a little while. I actually bought them for the sound stage. I'm a huge, fan of being able to distinguish between instruments and kind of be able to point out the location of where everything is at. And so, I know with earbuds, it's a little bit harder to kind of get that effect, to get that wider sort of sound stage, but it's something I would like to try. And so, there's a variety of options like I was talking about, but I'd really like to get some recommendations on what the viewers would recommend. The OnePlus Z or the OnePlus Buds Z are probably at the top of my list, just because they go with my phone and they're fairly cheap. And I'd also like to note that I've actually had a pair of regular AirPods before, and I actually really liked those. But I don't know really how the functionality on Android, if it's worth buying them, or if maybe I should just get something a little cheaper because I don't really want to spend that much money anyway. But I mean, they do sound good. I remember the AirPods sounding really, really good, and I was really surprised when I first used them. But I don't know. Wireless earbuds are something that it took me a little while to hop on the trend, but like once I did, I really couldn't go back. Wired earbuds are a hassle now, or at least in my experience recently, they have been more of a hassle. Just I guess because of the convenience I've had being spoiled with wireless earbuds, but I would definitely be willing to give up that convenience for sound quality. So I don't know if the in-ear monitor route is the best option to get the best sound quality, I definitely might do that. It's just going to be kind of having to see or figure it out and do some more research. But yeah, I mean, with that being said, I think wireless earbuds in general are one of the greatest technological sort of advances here in the past like 10 years, because it's completely changed the way people listen to music. You can listen to it literally anywhere on the go with no wires connected or anything. And, I think that's really dope. And if people like 10 or 20 years ago could look ahead and see that we have that capability now, like imagine if somebody in the 80s was able to look ahead and see the capabilities of wireless technology that we have now. That'd be crazy. Their minds would be absolutely blown. It would be insane to them. And so, I think it's cool. But the Earfun Frees, I would highly recommend those. Maybe I'll put like a link in the description to them if I can find it. But for the price that I paid, they are exceptional. But I kind of want to step up, go up the next level, get something a little better. But I'm also a little hesitant just because the earphones really do sound so good and they punch kind of high above their weight class. So I don't know. We'll have to see. The OnePlus Buds are definitely tempting. I don't know. we'll just have to see how that ends up going. I guess, like I said, I'm gonna just have to do more research and kind of figure out what the best option for me personally would be. But yeah, that's kind of wireless earbuds. And like I said, if y'all have any recommendations, I am absolutely open to hearing them. All open ears over here. So help me out if you would. But with that being said, we're going to transition here into the last topic of the video, which is going to be about my bucket list country, which for those of you who are new here, that is Norway. Norway is absolutely my most bucket list country in the whole world. I would love to visit there just to be able to see it and experience it. And just Norway is just incredible to me. I don't know. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the music scene there, the black metal scene, it all originated pretty much in Norway for the most part. There's a lot of history involved there. All my favorite bands seem to be Norwegian. So that has, an element to do with it, but also the culture of Norway with the Vikings and the Norse sort of stuff that was prominent in their culture for so long and is still prominent today. I think it's just really badass. And so I would love to be able to go to Norway and, see all these old towns and just, stand in the middle of Scandinavia really and have that experience of being in history, like walking in Oslo and, going to Bergen and just checking out all these, cities that are hundreds of years old and have, years of history attached to them and exploring them and, walking the streets of some of the people that I guess idolize as musicians and, visiting Helvete, the record store in Oslo. I mean, I just think that would be awesome. And not to mention the weather there. I'm a huge fan of the cold. Like I know that's kind of weird to say, but like I genuinely like being in the cold. I prefer it when it's cold. It's just a personal thing, I guess. And so Norway is a very cold country, obviously a lot of snow. But just the landscapes there are beautiful. The forests and the mountains and like the valleys of Norway are just incredibly beautiful. And it is truly like on my bucket list to go there. And it is very possible it could happen sooner rather than later. I know I talked to my mom a little bit about it, and she was definitely like on board. My mom was definitely interested in going to Norway. And so it is possible. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but it is possible that there could be a family vacation coming up maybe like next summer or something like that would deal with going to Norway. And if that's the case, I will literally die. I will literally like jump out of my boots with excitement because, that's just the next step for me, really. Like, I feel like I'm gonna go to Norway and not want to come back. Honestly, I would pitch a tent and be like, nah, y'all can go. Just leave me. But I don't know. I definitely think it would be interesting to check it out, as well as to be somewhere outside of the United States. I've never really traveled a whole bunch. I've been out west. I've been to up north some, but, I really haven't been a lot of places. I've never been to California. I've never been to the West Coast, or I've never been to, Texas, the most southern border. I've been to Florida. I've ridden through Georgia. The farthest north I've ever been was Minnesota, but, I've detailed that before. But other than that, I haven't really done a whole lot of traveling, especially not outside the country. I don't have a passport, so I'm gonna have to get that as well. But I don't know. I think that there's a lot of incredible things that can be seen outside of the United States. Beautiful countries, beautiful, places you can go and just see like other parts of the world and, get a new perspective. And that's really what it's about for me. Like I love those opportunities. And so I really hope that we are able to go there, because Norway, bucket list at the number one spot of my like my travel. Some people would say Hawaii or the Bahamas or, Alaska or something like that. Nah, Norway's where it's at for me. That is where I would love to go, and hopefully we will make that happen. But yeah, that pretty much covers all the topics for this video. I also wanted to take just a second to shout out my TV box back here. I just bought this the other day, like 2 or 3 days ago. It's a TCL TV, 43-inch like smart Android TV. Absolutely love it. Huge upgrade from my previous TV, the small like 30-inch or whatever it was. I don't even know what the screen size on that TV was, but it was awful. This is a far, far superior television. The picture quality is great, the 4K. The screen size is much bigger, and the flat screen and everything. It's so convenient. So I did want to throw that in there. The TCL TVs are great. My experience so far has been amazing. The setup was smooth with Android. You really can't go wrong here. And I got it for like $220 after tax because I had like a gift card that I had gotten when I bought my Oculus Quest 2. But even still, even with the like gift card, like the TV itself was only like 250 or 260. So I mean, that's a stupidly good price in my opinion for such a nice television. I think it's crazy that you can get TV so cheap now. You know, back in the early 2000s, like you would pay like 10 grand for like a flat screen TV that was like 60 inches or something, and you know, barely 1080p or maybe even 720. And now here we are. I just bought a 4K TV for $220 out the door. Like, what the hell? But I don't know. Buy TCL TVs are really great. But I did want to throw that in there since the box has just kind of been sitting there this whole episode, and I've noticed it like right there. Like I'm looking at it right now, and yeah, I don't know. But with that being said, yeah, this has been episode 29. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. It was kind of random, kind of all over the place. And I hope that this video finds you on a positive mindset, a positive place. And if not, just know that you are stronger than your circumstances and you will make it through. I love and appreciate every single one of y'all who watch the videos and, you know, stick with this family and kind of keep up with the community. You know, I really love making this content, making these videos. So shout out to everybody who continues to tune in. But yeah, with that being said, this has been episode 29 of A New Direction. I have been Colin, and stay chill. I will see you all next time. Thank you for watching.